Hello everybody, and welcome to a TVZ Best of 3 from the King of Battles Qualifiers. As we do have, starting in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, from Sidestorm Gaming, the yellow Terran player, SpeCial. On the bottom right-hand side, we do have the purple Zerg. This is SOO. As we get into game number 1 of this Best of 3, it is going to be, well, I think a lot of fun, because two players I'm very excited to see more of lately. SpeCial has been really innovative with his own style as of late, has been bringing a lot of cool things to the table. He's been very heavy on the mech play, battlecruiser play, Banshee hyperflight rotor play, and just doing things across all the matchups which not a lot of other people are doing. And that means that what he is doing for himself is he's the best person doing it, because he's the only guy doing it so often, and sometimes the only guy doing it. So he brings a very special style of play to this TVZ. And he is taking on SOO, who is obviously just returned from the military. I had an upload the other day where we had SOO versus Bjorn, and SOO was very aggressive, and I'm very intrigued to see if this series is more just SOO building roaches trying to win, or if he's got a bit more of that macro play, because what I've seen from him watching some other events, he isn't just building roaches and roach rushing every single time. So very excited, and I know a lot of people are very intrigued to see the return of SOO and just seeing how well he will do here, and yeah, see if he can get back on track to his previous championship-winning caliber. Of course, he did win an IEM Katowice after that string of second-place finishes, and it's so good to see him just return from the military, come straight back to the game, and being able to jump in at a fairly high level as well. Now, so this was one of the qualifying matches for King of Battles. I mentioned that I'm probably going to be doing a few of these King of Battle casts the next few days on YouTube or next couple of weeks, just while DreamHack is on, so just while I mention it, hello YouTube! Thanks so much for watching today, and if you do end up enjoying the video, don't forget to leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and turn the notifications on with the bell, because a lot of people are saying they just don't get notifications. Well, make sure your bell's turned on. And yeah, thank you so much. We're trying to hit 40,000 YouTube subs. If we can get there, then brilliant. And like I said, trying to mix in some of these YouTube-only casts to try and help with that a little bit as well. A lot of people had good things to say about the last one, so that's very exciting. And hopefully you like this one as well. So yeah, really a TVZ Best of 3, which is going to be quite interesting. It's from a qualifier. It's not a qualifying match or anything. I believe this, I actually don't know which round of the qualifier was. All I know is the American server qualifier, so it's played on NA. So actually, SpeCial should have been in Mexico. It's probably a little bit of ping advantage for him, but they probably would have played on West, which isn't terrible for Koreans. As the Engineering Bay block and the Reaper attack on that drone finally ends, and this is going to be a hatchery going down. Queen gets the Reaper kill. And that's obviously a pretty big deal, because now there's no Reaper to harass with, and SOO can get that third hatchery on location, rather than having to build it in a forward position, because the moment you have to build it out over here is the moment that this goes very wrong for you, because the Terran aggression from there on out just does not stop. The SpeCial is going to keep on being aggressive anyway, with a starport in the top right-hand corner of the map. So starport on the way up here on Blackburn, and we'll see just what he wants to try and delve into with this. So yeah, this is probably the last qualifiers match I'm going to cast, and then I'm going to be diving into some of the matches from the group stages, and probably a match or two from the playoffs. I'm not sure just how much we're going to cast. Like I say, it really depends how much content I get off of my few streams that I am doing already just outside of DreamHack. But obviously DreamHack has taken up a lot of my time over the next couple of weeks still, as a couple of queens are here. Helene gets a creep tumor pretty much immediately. Now we've got that lair on the way up from SOO as well. Ling speed is about to finish. What this means is that he's got a pretty quick lair. He can drop down a Baneling Nest and go straight to Bane speed. That lair's almost so quick, I'm like, well, are we just trying to rush out a Spire or something? But, I mean, we'll see, because he's not starting up a Bane Nest, so this lair will be pretty much useless unless you're going to build a structure off the lair. And SOO is the kind of player who brings his own unique style as well. You know, he's never been the most standard of Zergs, and he's always been very good at just being very swarmy, very aggressive. I mean, SOO's biggest weakness a lot of the time is just being stuck on mid-game units. You know, Ling Bay MUTA are never transitioning, Roaches in ZvT are never transitioning, never getting those spellcasters. So that's something which, obviously, to me suggests that we might see a Spire here, play some quick mutas, and just play into kind of a Ling Bay MUTA style. Here comes this early Liberator from that proxied starport, just one lib, and then pulls away. Obviously, this one lib can be annoying. It's so intriguing to see a proxy just for a Liberator, though, as these Hellions try and get in. But SOO's defense there is spot on. 3 Hellions go down. Yes, it costs you some Lings, but it does remove a lot of the Hellion pressure that could be attacking you here. A few drones over here that were pulled away from the Liberator now beginning to go down, and they're just a little bit exposed. Oh, we can't quite get that Hellion. That Zergling gets taken down. And now this Liberator is picking away at a few more drones as well. A few Queens up the top side trying to come on in here. And they are going to go playing after that Liberator, which gets pushed back down the right-hand side as well. These few Hellions wanting to try and dive into the third base. They can't quite get there. Now going to run up this ramp and going to get rid of 1, 2, 3 Hellions straight away. And that one Hellion on the top side still hitting a Zergling. That Zergling will go down and just one Hellion remaining there. I mean, it is nice to get rid of the Hellions when, this is Bio from SpeCial. He's not going to be replacing those Hellions like you would be with Mech. The Liberator falls as well. It feels like a lot of SpeCial's early game kind of pressure is now gone. Now, he might not be too worried about that. He has scouted the Spire. So you might say, well, look, these mutas are probably going to clean up my Hellions and my Liberator anyway, so let's really do as much as I can with them right now before the Spire is up and the mutas are out, because later on, it's just not really going to be worthwhile. I can 100% get behind that, sentiment, so I don't disagree with it. Baneland Nest finally on the way from Sue. Obviously, we'll be moving into Lingbane Muta eventually. One of the big sacrifices you make when you build these mutas this early is you're not getting upgrades. And you can see the Terran player SpeCial is already on 1-1 halfway done. And that's before we've even thought about dropping down Evolution Chambers as Sue, so he's going to be behind on upgrades this entire time. Again, his strength really lies in these mutas, being able to get on the map, really be able to deny a little bit of, mining, kind of keep the Terran player at home, and they need to. If the Terran player can just walk across the map, you're not going to have Baneland speed. You're not going to have 1-1. The 1-1 stim timing could be freaking deadly from SpeCial. The Starport was proxied, but now it's built a reactor top side, so he can get some medevacs. And that's exactly what he's going to be doing. And like I say, these mutas have a lot to do. And this is why, this wasn't really 2 base muta, but like almost 2.5 base, where you have a third hatch, but it's not saturated. That's just how quick the lair is. This super early Spire, it just doesn't see a lot of play in the current meta because it needs to do so much. You need to get into mineral lines. You need to be dealing a lot of damage to really make up for the investment that you've made so early in the game, and it's just difficult to find that much damage. As we do see Queen's going to be there to push these Marines back. The mutas wanted to kind of slide in there, and they're not going to be able to do much as more Marines come forward, and they're going to get rid of a whole bunch of creep spread here as well, so getting rid of more of them creep tumors. I'm just going to be seeing that Overseer now beginning to morph in. So getting that ready to go as Marines are readying up. A little bit of a fight. We stem forward. We get a couple creep tumors already. I have a Queen that goes down straight away. And let's see. I mean, this is going to be the push that Sue should struggle with. Again, no upgrades. Baneland speed still 20, 30 seconds away. So SpeCial's able to take great position to begin with. 2 of the 4 Banes go down. The last Baneland is just about scaring his Marines away. The Widowmite connects onto Queens, which actually helped get the kills, so that was nice. It means you have less splash for these Banes, but man, there's not a single Baneling that's able to connect throughout the entirety of this. And I just gotta say that I really feel like this wasn't even like a super great start from SpeCial. I don't feel like he traded super well or anything when it came to the nice Widowmite shot. When it came to the initial harassing units. But it's just the mutas, they did nothing. The mutas, they were built, they sat there, and they did absolutely nothing at all. They really did, and that's the problem. They didn't force SpeCial to stay at home. They didn't slow SpeCial down. And so you've built 1,000 minerals and 1,000 gas into units which are just, well, not meant to fight in large battles, and that's exactly what SpeCial was able to force, and that's why the quick Spire, quick muta play doesn't really see a lot of play. So SpeCial will take game number 1. Okay, guys, I'm a little sad because I want to see Sue winning some games. I feel like everything I've chose to cast from him so far is just him losing. We'll see if he can pull it back into game number 2, of course, and we'll see what kind of style he's going to bring out as we move on from Blackburn into... I imagine this was SpeCial's pick, so I imagine the next map would probably be something a little bit more Sue-favored, maybe like a Hardwire or so, and we'll see what Sue would choose to do there. So, best thing to do is to dive into that game number 2. So it's actually going to be a Glittering Ashes for map number 2. Not quite the Hardwire that I thought it was going to be. This might just be a special thing. He kind of likes to veto Hardwire and play Glittering instead. Maybe it plays well into the mech styles that we know SpeCial likes to bring to the table. SpeCial is the yellow Terran player in the top right-hand side of the map from Storm Gaming. In the bottom left-hand side, our purple Zerg player, this is Sue. As we get ready to go into game 2 of this best of 3. And we'll see what SOO will bring to the table. I mean, that's what I'm really asking. Don't get me wrong, I know for a fact SpeCial's going to do fun things, different things. Already proxying just one Rax middle of the map, probably some just quicker Reaper play. Probably gets 2 Reapers and then floats that Rax home. Probably wants to play mech. And so he doesn't care so much about the barracks and so on. But yeah, it's you know that SpeCial is going to be an interesting play. You know he's going to bring his own kind of style. Yeah, maybe game 1 wasn't super funky, although he did proxy the starport and stuff. But it's SOO that I really want to see more, because again, just we've seen so little of him. He's just back from the military a month or so now. It's just so exciting to see these players who used to be at the top of the scene return and to see what they can do. I mean, think of other Korean players that have returned from the military lately and their successes. Hyun, maybe not so recent. He was kind of the first player to return from military and look good. He won Asus ROG Online, remember? Not this past year, but the year before in 2020. So Hyun came back and looked good. Classic and Hero have both returned from the military and are giving, well, really life into kind of the Protoss scene in Korea. Especially if Trap and Zest end up going to military at some point. It's great to have those guys back. There's just so many players who, I mean, Ryung returned from military and he had a great run at Katowice. It's so cool to see StarCraft kind of transitioning to, you know, being playable for these guys when they return. And if I'm not mistaken, some of it is due to some of the ways that military service has changed in Korea. Some players are getting jobs where they can kind of play a little bit while they're kind of working or while they're in the army or in the military. So that's obviously helping because it means they can at least maintain their level to some extent. Even if you can only play like, you know, a couple hours a week or something, it's way better than just not playing at all for the better part of 2 years, right? So yeah, it's definitely becoming more of a trend to see players return. I saw Stats just tweet the other day, for example, he's got 6 months left, but he's excited to come back and play. I mean, TY should be due a return around that sort of time as well. It's just very exciting across the board, and so is this build from SpeCial. Wow. Wow. Look at this. This is something really unique. So, he proxies the first Rax, and he builds a single Reaper. Brings that Rax home. Now, that doesn't seem too crazy. It's nice that this Rax got home before this Ling get up into this base, but he's building 4 extra Racks behind this, so now he's just going to be on 5 Racks, and he's basically going to be able to mass Marine. And it looks like he'll go Tech Lab, so he's just going to get Stim Pack as well. He's just going to mass Bio. Very all-in, because if you don't do enough with this, you have no factory, you have no starport, you have no future in this game. But I kind of like the switch-up. You know, you're playing on a bit of a Zergy map. It's not something you'd expect to see on this map as SOO. However, these feelings are going to be annoying because, well, there's not really any units out just yet, right? The first barracks was... Oh, no, this is really bad for SpeCial. The first barracks is obviously out on the map, so the reactor hasn't been done for a long time, so there's no Marines to help out. And now SOO sees everything. So this went from being really cool for SpeCial to absolute disaster. And I kind of wonder, like, I understand maybe you want the barracks on the map and the Reaper, maybe it does something to help against what SOO can do to spot this initially. But when SOO has like 10 Lings and Ling Speed kicks in and you only have a Reaper, well, even if that Reaper survives and gets up to the high ground, these SCVs were all in trouble over there. And obviously that's what let these Lings into the base, that SpeCial didn't want to sacrifice all of the SCVs. Whether the Reaper was alive or not, a lot of them would have gone down if you just ward them out, if not all of them. And he obviously seems that, you know, to think that that's not playable. I love this from SOO. He sees 5 Racks. He says, well, the best thing I can do is Roaches because, let's face it, Lings can get overwhelmed. There's that critical mass of Marines hits a lot sooner versus Lings and Banes than it does versus Roaches. In fact, Roaches are the units which take a long time to really outmass. So SOO just says, right, I'm going to get my Roach Roaring down, start building Roaches, and then any attack you have is going to be way less likely to succeed simply based on my army composition. So I like that a lot. It just removes a lot of the potential that I think this attack from SpeCial would have had if it was to be Ling Bane. You know, imagine you play Ling Bane and you just get the snipes on the Banes, they don't connect, then the Marines just sit there and just deal damage to all the Lings or so. I mean, it just isn't pretty, right? So yeah. Well, Marines through the middle of the map from SpeCial, heading down to the bottom left-hand corner. Going to be seeing a couple of reactors coming through from SpeCial right now. So again, those reactors up and running. I've got the lair coming through, the Overlord's approach is still producing here. SOO. Let's lose an initial creep tumor and make that another one over on that left-hand side. So a couple of creep tumors going down. These Marines trying to press forward. Queen's transfusing though and keeping a roach or two alive. Those Marines get pushed out up the left-hand side. Extra lings are all producing. Lair is building. And yeah, these Marines just getting chased away for now. Marines are going to stim back in. They're going to go and grab a roach already. He's just going to be able to pick that off. Extra roaches coming in from the bottom side here. And they're just going to be able to, shut down these Marines completely. I like the idea from SpeCial, get on the map, maybe try and pressure, try and utilize these early units you have committed into, but yeah, you can't disagree with what SOO did either. I mean, the roaches have worked wonderfully. You can see exactly what was meant to happen with these. It played out perfectly, and now, well, now is SpeCial not just in a whole bunch of trouble? You would kind of think so, right? It would kind of seem that way. Roach speed is starting, extra roaches in the Evo chambers are building. You have this one link coming across the map. Marines will shoot that down. We just have this other ling, which is going to move towards the natural expansion. Marines are there to pick that ling off as well. And the starport finished up in the main. I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. I'm pretty sure this build has changed completely from SpeCial. It was meant to be very 5-racks focused initially, and I think it being scouted, he decided, right, let's get the factory down. And, you know, he might have planned to go factory, starport, engineering bay as a follow-up anyway, and eventually just make this the full 2-base all-in. But I do believe there was meant to be a lot more happening earlier. That got completely thrown off by the lings coming across the map, the scouting that SOO gained, and the damage he obviously dealt from there as well. That combination of effects has definitely thrown this entire game astray from SpeCial. Now, I mean, this is just a hopeless attack. He stims up a ramp into a mountain of Roach Ravager. +1 missiles, no carapace on the way from SOO. I'm just checking to see if there's... Yeah, there's a second Evo chamber. I was trying to think where I went to the natural. Obviously, usually they're over here or somewhere, but yeah, in the back of the third base. Actually, that's a pretty nasty place to put your Evo chambers, because in another game, SpeCial, when he's harassing, he could just drop some Marines in here. And, I mean, even Roaches, which have range, are going to have to run all the way. Like, if the Roaches were coming in here, they're going to get blocked by the Evo chamber a little bit. They have to run right into the mineral line, and then, you know, you lift up, you get it. You know, it's just going to be annoying. And if SpeCial somehow got a position in the main, he could kill those Evo chambers. They're not safe because they're pushed back from drops, because, actually, they're very exposed from the high ground. So I know that's obviously your own main base, but not unrealistic that SpeCial could find a drop in there. Maybe not in this game, but in another game like it. I always like to do a little bit of Evo chamber placement analysis, right? Figure out just where those are at and what they are doing, and if they were a good decision or not. And knock down this set of rocks in the center. Roach Ravager will begin to move across the upper right-hand side. We got a few tanks sieging as well. Obviously, SpeCial has been able to begin building up a potential defense against this. The thing is, SOO doesn't even really need to attack. He's on 69 drones. SpeCial's on only 2 bases. It's a mistake for SOO to attack, because he loses all of these lings over here fighting these Marines, so they're able to at least find a good fight. +1 against lings that have 0 upgrades. Obviously, they don't benefit from the missiles. They're waiting for melee, but it's not going to be a melee upgrade kind of game. So yeah, a little bit of a shame. I mean, the lings aren't the main part of the army here. It is a Roach Ravager focus force, but the lings maybe could have counterattacked, and that would have been way more effective than just losing them out, losing out on them there. SOO will lose a couple of Roaches as SpeCial. I mean, he really is just hoping this drop pulls SOO apart a little bit and gives him the opening for this main army to then strike. It's going to be tough. SpeCial making his way across the map. He's got a lot of healing to do as well. His medevacs have energy. They just need to start healing these Marines up after them previous stims. And yeah, how do you break through these ramps? Corrosive Vials are going to slow you down. It's going to be extremely difficult to break on up here. There's a couple medevacs boost over the left side. The Queens are there pretty much straight away. Ravager Vials are going to start coming in. The Bio is just stuck in a corner. SOO attempting to flank doesn't actually work too well, and actually a really bad fight initially from SOO. But I'll ask the question of, does he need to even be fighting here? Now, it is getting a bit more serious for the Libs. But the problem is, what SOO's trying to do right now is he's trying to hit Biles, which need him to go into the choke point to reach the tanks. But he's not really under any pressure yet, and if these tanks become more of a threat, that's when these Ravagers are going to be able to hit Biles a lot more easily. Like right now, he hits these Biles much more easily than he did before without having to just run everything into the ramp as much. Obviously, the Concave helps him fight the Bioforce off, and he just has enough anyway, but just felt like an unnecessarily early fight from SOO, because he could have very easily waited for exactly this when SpeCial commits up. SpeCial isn't doing any damage here, and while he might be getting more and more set up, you are the one that's on 70 drones building more and more, so SpeCial can't just wait forever. And whatever defense you have on this high ground is going to be so much easier. As we even saw moments later, that second attack, obviously, second attempt of defending went so much better from SOO. Maybe just could have done that the first time around. Obviously, didn't, and that's okay because it still worked out anyway. SOO gets very far ahead here early on in game number 2 and really just plays correctly. I mean, that scout gives him all of the information he could ever possibly want, and with it he decides to go into roaches. Absolutely the correct decision, no doubt about that. And that's going to be GG's for SOO to tie us up 1-1. So we are going to get a game 3. Yes, I got to cast a game where SOO gets to win a little bit as well. I said where SOO's losing a lot. I said that because I was casting him in World Team League recently and he was losing a lot. I don't think those are any games which are going to go up on the YouTube. Obviously, the one that did go up on YouTube, I did cast him winning against Bjorn. But when I got to cast him in World Team League, he hasn't been doing so hot. The games weren't very pretty, hence why they're not going to be uploaded to the YouTube channel either. So, yeah. Yeah, just a little bit of info. Just because I feel like someone's going to be like, Wardy, but the game you cast is SOO is the one where he won. And you're like, oh, yeah. Does Wardy even look at the games he cast? All right, let's go into game number 3 and see if SOO can continue this momentum into a series victory or if SpeCial fights back. All right, third map will be on 2,000 atmospheres, and in the bottom left-hand corner from Storm Gaming, the yellow Terran player is SpeCial. And the top right, rocking the red, it is our Zerg player SOO. Game 3 of this series, and 2 very different games so far. SOO attempting the fast mutas game 1, didn't really do enough. SpeCial pushes, SpeCial kills. Game 2, SpeCial does something very funky himself. Now we come to game 3, 2K Atmospheres really is the kind of the middle ground map. It's the map that both players are pretty happy to play on. It very often is, I'd say 90% of the time in TVZ's map number 3. And if not map number 3, then at least 90% of the time it's in a best of 3 because no one really goes to veto this map. You know, you've got Hardwire and Glitter and Pride, which are very good Zerg maps. You've got Belgrade and Curious, very good Terran maps, and Blackburn stretches toward that idea as well. So you just have, 2K, which is the one map which no one really likes over the other guy. So yeah, it very often does find itself as game 3. Wouldn't be surprised to see SpeCial here switch it up completely again. The one thing he's been so good at is his versatility. His ability to just come out with so many different builds, so many different styles. That's the sort of thing which SpeCial has been really impressing me with lately. And the thing is, he's so good at all of them. And it's so frustrating to play against because if you're playing against this guy and he plays something really weird game 1, you've barely learned anything from it. And you're like, okay, well, how can I adapt in game 2 if it happens again? But the thing is, it's not happening again in game number 2 because he's able to play something different. And it works even if you win. If you beat him in game 1, you're like, oh, cool, I beat that. He has other ways. He's not just keyed into one single style, and he can use that to his advantage repeatedly, and that's obviously really nice for him. So I've been really, like I said, becoming honestly quite a SpeCial fan as of late. I don't know, I've disliked him before, but in the past he's not been a Terran player who I'm like, oh yeah, I want to watch like a SpeCial game. But actually lately I'm like, oh yeah, God, I actually really want to see what what SpeCial's bringing to the table today. So yeah, really cool to see that. There's an attempt to take a third hatchery, and it will go down without issue. The factory currently on its way up, about halfway done. Just going to be seeing the refinery coming through from SpeCial as well. So just getting that set up. As we do have the very standard opener here so far for this game. Now, it was Marine-focused opening, and these Marines have come across the map a little bit, so maybe looking to try and put on some pressure. Going to try and bunker up on the right side of this third base. This can be annoying. First of all, you got to protect the Overlord. Second of all, SOO would like to try and get here and deny this bunker from getting up. He does have 2 queens walking over, but this just forces a fight way earlier than SOO would like to take. And like I say, just a little bit frustrating as that SCV is having a good time, but will not be able to finish up. And we get rid of 1 Marine, 1 SCV, and now we'll chase this down. So the overall builds are fairly regular here. Obviously, I'd say this little Marine push is something which is a little quirky, but actually, we are seeing this happen fairly regularly. I know Bjorn is a big fan of doing stuff like this as well. Just get out, try and get that bunker up, apply pressure early to a very quick third base. If you're opening Marines, obviously you've not opened Reapers, so the Marine count is higher than usual, and that's what allows you to do this. He did build an extra Marine or so off the barracks instead of adding an add-on or anything. Looks like that's just for additional numbers, basically, as there is the fusion core going down. You could very well see mech here on this map as well from SpeCial if he wants to draw this out and play this, into a longer game. The fusion core does begin. I'm just going to be now seeing Hellions from SpeCial begin to make their way up to the top of the map. So 4 of them are going to go running across. Let's see what they can do as link speed is about halfway done. Some extra drones are producing. Queens are coming out. These first few Zerglings getting roasted pretty quickly. Quite a few of them. There's no link speed yet, so very late link speed from SOO, and uh-oh. 4 drones go down. Fortunately for SOO, these Hellions will not have the HP to go back to the low ground and get rid of the low HP drones that remain there. But these Hellions in the main now obviously having a good time. I think SpeCial got greedy here. He tried to make it to this group of drones. As 10 drones killed, we actually have 2 more Hellions coming in. What can they do to finish up here? I don't know if SpeCial was being greedy or if he was just busy kind of macroing for a moment or so. This is going to get cleaned up with no more damage. But he could have easily killed like 2 more drones over here, but instead it was like, no, I want to get to this group of 4 drones and try and kill 4. But in trying to get there, he didn't kill any of them, and he could have just absolutely had the 2 kills here. So, not sure if, again, that was just him clicking and then going home to macro and just didn't, get the chance to, kill the extra drones in time. But obviously, it's a great start from SpeCial. You killed 10 drones early with the Hellions. Yeah, you got to be loving that. We see extra gases down. This looks like it will be mech as well. Even better, because now it means that those Hellions, expendable, replaceable, because you just have a mineral excess when you're playing mech, so building more Hellions, very easy to do. It's not like in a bio game where now you have no map control, the Zerg can take full advantage of that, because the bio player wouldn't be able to afford more Hellions because you've got to put your minerals into barracks and marines. In this game, you can keep building Hellions, so you'll get those back up, have that threat again, and we'll see what the BC tries to do. We'll see if that early damage that SOO has taken is going to throw him off to the point where this BC is going to be able to get a lot done. Straight into the main base, already target firing a couple different drones before it even teleports in. 2, 3 drones going down, 4, 5. Yeah, easy 5 drones are just going to start running away out to the right-hand side. And is probably not going to do much more than that, but might find an Overlord over there. Actually turns around for the Queen. SOO begins the road draw and recognize, and this probably is going to be a continuation into further mech play. And as he has the lair up, he will drop the Spire, and Corruptors are going to be a necessity here. This is a very standard response to get Roaches for the ground, Corruptors for the sky, because Corruptors are basically going to pay the Corrupt attacks all game long, where, the BCs, there's going to be 2 or 3 of them. They're probably going to have Yamato. I'd be very surprised if that didn't get built. And yeah, that Yamato obviously allows you to just go bam, bam, bang every single time. If you have 3 BCs, if the Corruptors fly at you, 3 Corruptors go down, and you just teleport away. And what's really nice about that is it forces the Zerg player to keep rebuilding 3 Corruptors every minute and a half or so. And it just stops them from ever being able to fully focus on massing on the ground, which can be one of the scares for mech. It says, oh, I was wondering how many drones were stacked there just because I saw a couple stacked up, but it wasn't anything crazy. The stack didn't go down anyway, just 1 drone dying as the Hellions really try to find some damage in all of that. PC's back. Hasn't gone home to repair just yet, does have the teleport home, so it will be safe. Obviously, as the Spire comes online, that is generally the time as you need the VC to be away, or at least have the teleport home for safety. Oh, it actually turns into an okay defense here from SOO. This Hellion run by looked terrifying, but the drones got away. The Queens provided a bit of a block, and yeah, 8 drones go down, but it could have been a lot worse. Still like it for SpeCial because, let's face it, those are drones which, he likes to get rid of. Hellions, again, are expendable. But, numbers-wise, efficiency-wise, it maybe wasn't great for SpeCial, and especially just the most important thing is, it could have been so much worse, and that could have been a lot more than just 9 drones dead. Counterattack from SOO won't find anything, though, and it does feel as though SpeCial is fully rolling already in this game. Number 3, Queen's trying to get over to the right-hand side, trying to push that battle cruiser away, and the BC going to go on a little bit of a journey. Pushed off to the right there, is now going to teleport back home. The Queen and a few Corruptors here going to force the BC to teleport back as well. So that's 2 BCs teleporting back. We've got a couple tanks that are going to spread out and siege up. And 13 Roaches continuing to produce. Make it 15 Roaches continuing to produce. As we'll drop down 2 more factories. And this starport will go down and get ready to build itself another add-on or so. Obviously, it's done with the tech labs. You're at that BC count of 3. That seemingly is the magic number most of the time. It's a good amount of supply to use up on BCs without going overboard. As the Hellions are going to turn and get rid of a few more Zerglings. Quite a lot more Zerglings going down. We're going to move in, get rid of a few drones as well. There's 5 drones that get picked up, and just now seeing the Corruptors on the map. Well, I wouldn't mind hits one of them. SOO'S just obviously taking a lot of losses, and now 70 drones to 78 SCVs. SOO generally wants a large economy here so you can run across, attack, rebuild, and go again. With only 70 workers, that's going to be difficult. You can already see him struggling on gas count and stuff, and things just aren't looking too pretty. As the Corruptor's going to cause the barracks in the middle of the map. Not that that's really going to do too much. Once it gets out of range, it can just land again, and then the Corruptor's on caustic spray cooldown. I don't think the Corruptors were necessarily going to find an opening anywhere, but you never know. I mean, maybe they could have come around here and caustic sprayed. Only issue if that was maybe they would have been too far away, and then the BCs come in and you're just out of position. They're kind of out of position anyway. They're still off to the left-hand side of the map. They're like so desperate to make sure that barracks goes down that actually the BCs are just going to fly in and, well, make a good go of killing this base off. There's only 1 transfusion left, I believe, and it's used just then. We're going to get this base, and obviously we can just teleport away. We do eat a couple corrosive vials while teleporting, but we are otherwise out of there. So, yeah, great from SpeCial being able to deny the 4th. So 3 base SOO is maxed out. Needs to do a lot with his attack right now. The one good thing about the BCs having just teleport is if you attack a SOO, teleport's on cooldown, so you might actually be able to get the kills instead of them just being able to teleport away to safety or to, you know, another location. Roach Ravager comes around that right side, gets a Hellion, and just now going to come through, and, well, a couple of tank shots already going off. The Corruptors are pressing forward. Hellbat's already fallen. In we go. Corrosive File's going to fly up in the sky. 1, 2, 3, and 2 tanks go down. This tank line is just so deep. SOO is chewing through the first couple of waves, but it's expensive. Ravagers are going down. They are very difficult to replace. The Corruptors are fighting BCs. I don't think you're going to get any more than what you've gotten, though. He's killed 2 of the 3. The last one should have just been mass repairable by SCVs. As SOO, this obviously would have been good if the worker counts were the other way around for him. The problem is he's on 70 workers and SpeCial's on 86. SpeCial's going to rebuild a lot more comfortably on the back of this than SOO is. I mean, SOO's obviously only on this worker count because, yeah, he's taking a lot of losses, and he doesn't have the bases up because he's been losing those as well, so that's also been a problem here. As the Hellions will come around looking for some of these drones. We're going to get 1, 2. Nice little bit of damage done. Now the Roach is going to wrap around there. Those Hellions all going to go down. That is a full cleanup. There's another extractor finishes. And SOO would like to just get this base properly online, get to this point where that is going to be beginning to make a difference. Thor production has started up on the factory here. Just a bit of creep spread in the middle of the map getting cleaned out as well. Hellions on the top side going to get a Zergling, maybe 2, and just going to be seeing Corruptors just rallying back to the top center. Again, Thor's still producing. Hellions and tanks still producing. Macfield Accelerator is on the way. We have just creep kind of everywhere. I mean, the creep spread is the one really nice thing that SOO has. Now that he's got that extra base up, he is droning. He's going to hit 80 workers, especially on 94 SCVs. His economy is obviously really getting to be a little out of control at this stage. Oh, this is going to be seeing SOO attack in the middle. Lings, Roaches, Ravagers coming in. We're actually going to have a siege tank that gets picked off pretty much immediately. That tank going down, a couple of tank shots on some Roaches as well. The problem is breaking this 4 base setup of SpeCial is likely to not happen. You might even say it's unlikely, if you want to English properly. BC is harassing too, and I mean, this is okay for SOO if he can just stabilize on these bases, get his workers up. If you can stop SpeCial getting to a 5th base, that's oftentimes the most important thing to do, right? You know, have 4 bases. I'm going to take the map and you're not allowed a 5th, then that's a very winnable situation. Obviously, having killed 2 of the BCs as well, you only need a lower amount of Corruptors now to just force the BCs to teleport away again and again, so that's nice. There's not going to be as many kind of denials on the Corruptors. This fight wasn't so pretty. Running up this Ram Cyclone's doing okay. And now SpeCial's actually taking a good position on the map. What this means is he can likely get a 5th base up behind this. And SOO, if he can't stop SpeCial getting into this position, he's going to take a bad fight. And that's going to be a little bit tough. SpeCial really using these ledges, these corners, really effectively to get his tanks in great places. I think one thing that SOO maybe would have liked to have done here is to take down these rocks already, just to make it so that any engagement into his opponent's armies are just going to be that much easier, but I don't know if he was really thinking about the fact that he might be the one that's just on the defensive anytime soon. SpeCial really just got across the map here way more easily than I think he ever should have done. Alliance just run by, just going to keep this game troubling for SOO as he loses drones yet again, back down to 65. We just talked about him getting up to 80 workers and how great that seemed to be, but yeah, reset back down to 65, and he's just not finding any kind of comparable damage to his opponents. All of these tanks are sieged up. We are seeing the Roaches taking a lot of hits. Ravager's taking quite some hits as well. A few tanks are going to continue through and just going to set up here, spread those tanks out. If the Biles could get onto the tanks behind, I mean, they are all clumped up, but just isn't looking like it's going to happen yet. SOO is still just building Roaches. You guys remember when I talked about that, in one of the early games I talked about SOO being very, oh, he's looking for the BC! Oh, cool, dive from the Corruptors, because once the Corruptors have built that off, you don't really need them anyway. I mean, I guess he's going to try and get Broods, so maybe he does, but I think it was worth losing some Corruptors to get the BC, get rid of that harassment. Yeah, SOO sometimes gets stuck on the mid-game arm. I mean, I know he's been trying to build some Infestors, and obviously this game, there's a good reason to be stuck here, but it does just remind me, you know, whether intentionally or not, of kind of just SOO just trying to kill, like, teched-up armies with mid-tier units. And it just seems to be, like, a staple of SOO's play, which is, yeah. And like I said, I don't even think this time it's, you know, by choice. It really is just the way the game has gone. It's just so typical and funny to me that SOO is, you know, back and stuck on this sort of setup once again. His Biles is actually only going to hit one of those tanks, but he will get forward and clean up in full. So that was actually a nice pick-off from SOO. Things that are pretty effectively. There's more tanks coming in and sieging up. Some Cyclones getting rid of some creep spread as well. And just clearing the way. Taking a forward path. Got drones going down once again. Just Hellions to the top side. You guys want to guess how many drones died this game? I'm going to say like 57. That's my guess. 66. It's a lot of drones, right? And it's just been consistent all the way throughout, and SOO has just never comfortably been able to get up onto that worker count, which means he's never comfortably been on an army he wants to be on. The Fungals here help against the Hellions and Cyclones, but with the tank support, it's just freaking expensive. You know, you're losing so much to the tanks that are firing as you're trying to clean up this Hellion Cyclone wave. The Hellion Cyclone wave doesn't even go down. We're building a handful of Broodlords. It looks like SOO, I mean, his supply is dropping heavily. He's going to build another round of Roaches. And he still can't even catch up to the supply that SpeCial is currently on. SpeCial, with these attacks as well, has been doing a great job of clearing up the map and pushing back a lot of this creep. So that really allows him to just have a much better time as well. As through we go, picking away at some creep spread. I'm just going to begin to get on top of this right-hand side base. There are a lot of Roaches from SOO coming along the left, and maybe try and switch this up just a little bit, try and get some counter damage, but tanks are here. These Roaches should not last very long against those. I feel like we're actually getting to the dying moments because SOO is, unless the Broodlords can really, you know, make magic happen, it's just, I mean, SOO's just not got an economy. And at this point, it feels like he's going to struggle to even rebuild the economy. Here are the Broods, and to be fair, current anti-air is extremely lacking, so we'll clean this up, we'll push this back. The Broods will help SOO to hold for the moment, because this 5th base went up unchecked from SpeCial, now this 6th base will come down. It's an orbital, it might not last very long, but even if you just get to mule it or take a bit of gas off that base for a while, worthwhile, I would say. I mean, he's got 90 SCVs, so he has to be able to send those somewhere. See if SOO can even find his way down there. At the moment, it seems unlikely. 4 Thors on the way means that we're going to have a really good anti-Broodlord force as well, especially when the Broodlord count is only at 4. Well, yeah, I mean, more drones down across the map. No surprises there. That's just been a consistent for the last 10 minutes or so. As we do see Ghosts lining up the snipes, a few Ravagers already going down, more snipes lined up, a couple more Ravagers dead. And it just feels like once these Thors pop, we have an answer to the Broodlords, and then this army of SOO. It's his last army. He's only on 55 drones. He's not been rebuilding any. This is it. It's now or never. He's losing drones to Liberate on the far right side. The Ghosts get forward. They get some snipes off. There's only 2 Broods remaining. The Ravagers obviously shouldn't be able to win this on their own. I mean, they're going to trade out with some Biles, but again, SpeCial's in the position to rebuild. SOO is not, and SpeCial makes it happen with the mech here in game number 3. Yeah, I mean, summary of the series, MUTA Rush didn't work out game 1. attempted 5 racks all in game 2, really didn't work either. And then game 3, we get the macro game, and I mean, SOO just never really got going. The initial Hellions got some kills, the PC got kills. All of this set SpeCial up to at least be in that kind of momentum lead, and he never let it up. He was consistently very good at keeping that lead, making plays which allowed him to stay ahead. And obviously, in the end, SpeCial was able to bring himself into a 2-1 victory and advance through in this round of the qualifiers. Like I said, I'm not sure which round this was or anything, but yeah, got to keep his run alive for the moment. So this was probably the last qualifiers match we'll do from King of Battles. We'll probably be moving into the group stage and stuff next. I've also seen some really cool games from the ESL Open Cup Korea, which I don't usually cast. If I can get my hands on those replays, we might be diving into a couple of those towards the weekend, everybody. So if you're enjoying the content here on YouTube, do not forget to hit the like button. Do not forget to subscribe. It helps us out a whole bunch. And with that, you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time for more StarCraft 2.